The Shield of Achilles is one of the world's greatest masterpieces in art history. And that is for a number of reasons. First of all, it is a beautifully precious piece. It's made of solid silver, plated in gold, and the execution is extremely fine. In fact, some of the world's greatest artists, tastemakers, worked on it. The second reason, of course, its significance, both from a political as well as from an intellectual point of view. In fact, it was conceived during a time when the United Kingdom was affirming itself as an extremely strong, powerful, wealthy, and educated nation as well. After the success of the Napoleonic Wars, the United Kingdom was building an enormous empire. It also came to symbolize the neoclassical movement, but in particular the Regency style that was taking place in those years, which is a movement when artists and tastemakers looked back at the Greek and Roman art to find inspiration for art and ethics as well. 5 shields were made in total. The first one, hallmarked for 1821, and it was presented during George IV's coronation. The current one, it is hallmarked for 1823, and it was presented during the coronation of his brother, the Duke of Cumberland, when he was crowned King of Hanover in 1838. The Duke of Cumberland acquired this shield a few years before, only to have it presented at his coronation in order to emulate his majestic brother. But the history of the shield starts very early. In fact, it starts in 1792, when John Flaxman, an extremely important artist, was asked to illustrate the translation of the Iliad written by Pope. John Flaxman examines the original text of the Iliad again and again until he finds a suitable way to translate into visual art the incredibly complicated description that fascinated generations of artists and readers as well. John Flaxman starts with a depiction of the sun, the god Apollo. Apollo is seated on his chariot, whose horses are directly inspired from the Parthenon marbles, but in those years were coming to the United Kingdom as a source of inspiration for artists and tastemakers. Around the sun are all the constellations, the rays, and then we start with the daily life of a Greek polis, the democratic city. The first scene, of course, as the foundation of Greek society was the family, is a wedding procession. We have a groom and a bride, and people dancing and cheering and drinking as well. Perhaps all this drinking leads to a dispute that ends up in the legal forum. The judges are listening very closely to a man defending himself as a corpse lies on the ground. After this scene, we move into a battle scene, again, a very important part of Greek life in those years. It's a very violent scene, but as soon as the war scene is over, we start with another pilaster of Greek life and activities, agriculture. Agriculture, harvesting, and winemaking. After this, there is a hunting scene with an animal being sacrificed to the gods. The ocean is literally poured by Vulcan in the Homeric description to close the world.